You know her best as the former first daughter of the United States, but Chelsea Clinton is also a wife, a mother, an activist, and an author. I sat down with her to talk about her new children's book, She Persisted Around the World, adjusting to life after the 2016 election, and whether she'd ever consider running for president. There's a level of accomplishment in your family. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel a sense of obligation to the Clinton name?
Well, I feel a sense of obligation to my children now. So I'm very proud to be my parents' daughter. I'm proud of my mom and my dad. My most important identity now, though, is as a mother to my two children, to Charlotte and Aiden. So I feel a real sense of obligation to do everything I can to create the world that I want them and every child to be able to grow up in.
Let's talk about this book. I read it to my daughter, and it opened up so many possibilities in my head in terms of conversations that I can have in the future. This is sort of a jumping off point. What was your goal when you wrote it?
Well, I wrote the first book, She Persisted, to really celebrate persistence. In the first book, all 13 of the women's stories I share had real meaning to me. And I hope that kind of through sharing them, readers young and not so young, and families reading them together will really understand why those stories resonated with me, and hopefully they'll inspire a new generation. I wrote the second book to celebrate even more women's stories from not only the United States, but around the world, who kind of through their talents but their determination have made such a positive impact.
It was so nice for me as sort of the parent reading this to my daughter to flip a page. I didn't know what was coming on the next page, and all of a sudden I see Viola Desmond. I was so excited to share that story with my daughter because this is the first time she's going to hear it. And then one day she's going to be in school and she's going to learn about it from a teacher, and she's going to remember this book and reading it with me for the first time.
I am so grateful I have the chance to share her story with American readers who probably wouldn't have the chance to learn about her in school as your daughter later will. This work on civil rights, on equal rights, has only been going on really kind of for a few generations, and there is so much more work to do, and hopefully stories like Viola Desmond's or like those I share in She Persisted around Claudette Colvin, kind of Ruby Bridges, who were real heroines in American civil rights history, you know, will compel us to just keep moving forward. Was there any push to ever include your mother in the book? She is kind of given a cameo of sorts in the first one. Her portrait hangs in the opening gallery. And I certainly kind of think of my mother and my grandmother as the two women that have been kind of the most meaningfully inspirational to me. And yet I wanted to share other women that have inspired me that may be less obvious than my mom or my grandmother. Your mom has talked about, you know, getting over the election, and that there's some people today still who are having a tough time with that. When you look back at it, have you settled on a narrative yet? Well, for me, kind of everything that I cared about so intensely in 2016, I care about even more intensely in 2018. Yeah, of course. And, you know, I had a child in the middle of the 2016 election, Aiden, so admittedly for me, kind of the most important event of 2016 was the arrival of my son. I also, though, think about now as a mother of two children, kind of all of the values that compel me to work so hard. I continue to do anything and everything I can to both resist what I disagree with and also to continue to advocate for what I think we're not doing enough of at the moment in our country. As the kids of politicians, we often get asked, will we go into politics? But you know, you've worked with the foundation as well. Do you feel that you are doing as much as you can from the position that you're in right now, or would you take that step into politics? What I'm doing right now is very much the right answer for me in terms of channeling kind of my energies, my kind of ethics through the foundation, through writing, through my teaching. I also, though, am really lucky, Ben, in that I live in a city where I support my governor. I clearly do not support, you know, the president, but I think to run for public office, you have to have a clear view of kind of what change you want to try to effectuate, like, in that role. And right now, I'm well represented. For now, though, I think what I'm doing is a great match for what I kind of want to see happen in the world, and I'm really grateful every day. Are you optimistic for your kids' generation when you read the news or when you watch the news? Well, I have to be optimistic. I think pessimism is kind of where change-making goes to wither and die. I mean, I think that kind of pessimism is the kind of place where those who want to protect the status quo dwell, and I don't have any interest in protecting the status quo. I think we always need to be doing more to try to create kind of more opportunities, kind of more equity, more innovation. And so all of that, I think, requires optimism. So while I think there are tremendous forces that are kind of retrograde in our country right now, I am optimistic that progress will prevail because otherwise, why would any of us work as hard as we're doing right now?
Thank you so much, Kelsey.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you very much.